Hello everybody and welcome to the Lazy Craig Show. Today I'm going to talk about the mid-season premiere of Fear the Walking Dead and give you an episode recap. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the episode of what happened. So this will be a spoiler. This does have a spoiler warning. I will be saying what happens in the episode. But my opinion of the episode, in a non-spoiler review, is that it was a great episode. In fact, to give it a score out of 10, I'd probably give it 8.5. I think the dynamics between some of the characters worked great, and that it worked fantastically to develop the story that I believe will happen this season. Okay, now I will go into what happened in the episode. So if you haven't seen the episode, turn off now, come back later. Or if you don't want to watch the episode, just want to know what happened, then continue. The episode actually began with a storm. Although the storm was somewhere else, and I think it was more of a prelude to the storm that would arrive later in the episode. There were the walkers being blown about, although the CGI they used to blow the walkers about was very, very dodgy. There was a moment where a walker was on his back being blown across over the road, and it was terrible. Like the CGI was so unbelievable that it was ridiculous. Like they should have done a much better job, to be honest. It was much like I think it was the deer in The Walking Dead, where the deer was laughable CGI. I think the CGI department probably needs a bit of work on these shows, to be honest. They need to up their game. I'm no CGI expert, but it was terrible. I will look down a bit because I do have the whole episode written down on my thing. The main crux of this episode, though, was about Morgan wanting to leave, because he has decided he's going to go back to Alexandria, and he's going around visiting everybody and asking if they want to go with him. And Al has agreed to drive him because it means she can see this community, and she'll have more opportunities to film stuff. So that's something that she'll enjoy. And he's going around asking all the others as well. But to be honest, it doesn't seem like anyone's actually taking him up on his offer. It seems like it'll just be him and Al. In my opinion, him leaving is a big mistake, because I think the Morgan on Fear the Walking Dead is is a much better character than Morgan on The Walking Dead. I also think that Morgan has improved the show massively, but that obviously is helped by the additions of John, Al, and June, who we also know as Laura, and whatever the other name was she was using. They've helped improve the show massively, to a point where it's the better show right now. And I think that Morgan should remain on the show. I don't think he should leave. So I hope he actually stays on the show. Next up, obviously when Morgan was going around visiting everyone, we saw what everyone was like. Charlie, John and June were in a bus. June was fishing. John was still recovering from his gunshot wound. He's recovering quite nicely. They said it will only be a few more weeks. Charlie didn't say anything, though she was just in the front. He visited Strand, Luciana, and Alicia. Sorry, and Strand and Luciana were living in this big house with gates, although there are walkers getting in because there's a hole in the fence. And Strand is just getting drunk because they have a wine cellar, and that's what he wants to do. And Luciana is listening to sad music all the time, doing nothing, laying down. So they're both clearly in a very bad place right now. And the whole Strand getting drunk thing kind of goes along with the Strand character. Obviously, with Luciana, we don't know too much about her, but she's obviously devastated about the loss of Nick. And Alicia is living in the greenhouse, away from the others. Although she is on a little quest of her own, because she's killing walkers and she's found notes on them asking for help. And she's killing all the walkers to try and find more notes so she can figure out where this person that needs help is actually from. Later in the episode, she actually does find out where they're coming from, and she asks if Morgan will go with her. And so her and Morgan go off to this lumber mill to find the person, and the lumber mill is something that is overrun with walkers as well, so they have to kill a few walkers. I quite like the dynamic between Morgan and Alicia. It's got kind of like a fathery daughter vibe, to be honest. And I think their segment was probably the better segment, because what the episode did was they split everyone off. They had Morgan and Alicia, then John, who stayed with Charlie, but then he ended up with Strand. Then they had June and Al together as well. So it was like a pairing off episode. And I'll talk about as well what them all pairing off means for the future, because and due to my previous prediction as to what will happen when I said what the trailer was like. Yeah, they went to the lumber mill. They had a pretty cool kill where Alicia cut the line for this crane that was holding up a whole bunch of logs, and the logs fell on a big pile of walkers, crushing them all, which was pretty cool. Unfortunately for Alicia, she found the guy writing the notes dead and turned into a walker, which led to a moment of self-reflection for her, because she thinks that her mum would have been able to save the man and he would have found him sooner. But I just don't think that's the case. I don't think that would have happened. In the end, it does end with her and Morgan on the way back, but then a storm comes and her and Morgan get separated because she tells Morgan she wants to be on her own, because she's feeling quite sad right now, obviously her mum being dead, and she's obviously doubting her own ability to save people like her mum did, which isn't good, to be honest. As well, earlier in the episode, there was a problem with walkers actually going down the river, because like I said, with John and June and Charlie, they're on a bus, but they're on a bridge, so they're fishing from this water, and there were loads of walkers coming, and so they decided that they're coming from upriver, and John's still being injured. June and Al decide to go check it out upriver, so they go on a little journey of their own as well. They're quite good together. June told Al a few things off camera though, and although not off camera for us, but off Al's camera. She doesn't want anyone else seeing it, and she's a bit worried about John, because she says that John fell in love with Laura, not June, and she thinks because John wants to go back to the cabin, and she's a bit worried that John won't love her as well, because the fact that he fell in love with Laura rather than June. Although they've been together a while, like Al says to her, and so he's seen her every day. So he there's no reason for him not to love her. But on the way, it was quite an interesting thing where they came across a moment where there was a log across the road blocking the way, but there was a box on the side of the road. It had a note on it saying, "Take what you need, leave what you don't. I'll see you ahead." So there's someone out there who is trying to help people as well. I'm wondering who it is. I'm wondering if maybe it's actually Aaron Stansfield from 12 Monkeys, the one who played Cole, because obviously he was in the trailer. So I'm wondering if that's actually him and if we'll meet him at some point soon. They end up getting caught in the storm as well. They actually caught up in the storm right at the end of the episode. And the winds are heavy and strong enough that they're blowing walkers, like not just like blowing them across, they're like making them fly and stuff, and they're like bashing against the side of the van. So that's quite a crazy situation. They didn't find what the problem was with the river, but it's safe to assume that it's the storm blowing them from far away, and they're blowing them into the river. Now the other pairing was John and Strand, but that actually began with John and Charlie, because it was just John and Charlie left on the bus. John decided to make a homemade Scrabble just for them to have a bit of fun with, but Charlie's not really having any of it, and she runs away. So John actually goes to Strand for help finding her. Luciana stays at the house and John goes off with Strand. There wasn't really much with their dynamic because it was only a little bit of talking with them, but they end up getting caught in the storm too. But they don't find Charlie, because Charlie actually ends up at the house where Luciana is, because Luciana hears her, and she's leaving a book. I think it's one of the books that Nick gave her, and she's leaving it for Luciana with something to remember Nick by. And Charlie actually runs away from the house into the storm, which is stupid, and Luciana goes after her. So she's obviously gonna go after Charlie. So obviously at the end of the episode, everyone's separated. You got June and Al together on their own in a truck. You've got John and Strand together in a truck. Then you've got Morgan separate. Then you've got Alicia separate. Then you've got Charlie separate and Luciana separate. So one of the things I said when the trailer dropped is that the vibe that the trailer was giving off was one of loneliness and and sadness and desperation. Maybe not desperation so much, but it was quite a big hint at desperation, to be honest. But it's the whole crux of the thing is loneliness and lack of belonging. And to be honest, this is what I think this season's going to be. I don't think the season's going to have people together as much as they usually do. I think they're all going to be apart for quite a bit of the season. Maybe they'll find other people. Maybe, one of them will find Cole from 12 Monkeys. Probably a Juna now. Although I think I think it was Alicia actually in the trailer that found him. So it'll be quite interesting. I do think that they'll do a good job of it because they're killing it right now. And it will be interesting seeing everyone on their own and with new dynamics because obviously John and Strand haven't got much time together. Neither had Morgan and Alicia. And June and Al as well. They haven't really had a chance to talk properly either. So I think like pairing them off as well. Like they all play off each other really well. The acting was top notch in the episode. I'm looking forward to next week's episode. To be honest, I think this season will, or the second half of this season, because this is the second half of season 4. I think it will be much better than The Walking Dead. I'm very much looking forward to it. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Comment below what you thought of the episode. Are you looking forward to the rest of the season? Obviously, watch my videos, previous videos. Like, subscribe, and bye.